Hello everyone, and welcome back to Humble Heart Horsemanship. My name is Sabrina, and in today's video I'm showing you guys a very easy, fun exercise to teach your horse how to bend properly under saddle. So let's talk a little bit about what bending means. Now, the first thing to understand about bending is that when we ask for bend, we're asking for the horse's entire body to bend. So the bending should occur through the horse's poll, all the way through their spine, out to their tail. So I see a lot of riders ask for bend and they just focus on the front half of their horse's body or just the back half. And you want to understand that bend means that the whole horse's body is committing to the bend, and it's not just like one segment or one part of the horse's body bending. There's a lot of benefits to teaching your horse how to bend correctly. It's going to help your horse learn how to balance correctly. It's going to help them with circles. It's going to make them very supple and very giving to the cues that you give them. And it really makes a horse that's very flexible and lovely to ride. So I'm going to break down how you would simply ask a horse to bend. So the first thing that we want to understand is when we're asking for that bend, we're going to be asking with our inside leg. So when you are sitting on your horse in your saddle, your legs naturally fall under you, and right where they fall, you're going to keep them there. And to ask for that bend, you're going to take your inside leg, this is your inside leg, and you're just going to push it into your horse's stomach or their side, okay? Now, ideally, when you do that with your leg, the horse's rib cage, their body, should curvature out like this, like a C shape or like a croissant shape is what I would tell my students. So we're looking for that croissant-shaped horse body, all right? So your leg is here. This is your horse's body, okay? And you're gonna put that leg in. Ideally, the horse's body curves like that. You see how this is curved, right? So here's my leg. This is curved. A lot of times when we just ask for that bend with our inside leg, the horse is going to misunderstand you and think that you're asking for a lateral movement. So they might sidestep, which is normal and happens with a lot of horses. But ideally, when you ask for that inside leg, we want the horse's rib cage to be moving away and bending when you apply that inside leg. So to teach your horse how to bend, you're gonna put that inside leg on, and if your horse is not bending and you can't feel them or you physically don't see their body bending and turning into that croissant shape, what you're gonna do is you're gonna bump with that same side inside rein. So here's your rein right here, okay? I'm holding the rein. I'm just gonna bump. So you notice that I'm not yanking, I'm not holding the rein back, I'm simply bumping. And it's a very quick motion. So when you apply that inside leg and you bump, what's happening is you're saying, hey, every time I apply this inside leg, I want your rib cage to bend around my leg and bend correctly. If that's not happening, I'm not seeing that bend throughout your whole body, I'm gonna bump your head essentially. And when you bump that head, the horse is going to give to the pressure because they feel the pressure of your rein, and they're going to go to the spot where they can find the release, which would be bending their nose towards you. So they're going to move their nose towards you. When you see that nose come towards your inside leg, you're going to release all of the pressure, which means releasing your inside leg and that rein cue. Now, sometimes if you're working with a horse that's very stiff in their neck, it may be physically hard for them to flex their neck and give you that bend, okay? So you gotta, like take a little, give a little. If the horse is trying and you see that they're trying to give to that, you can release, you can work your way up to your horse being able to flex better. But just keep in mind, if you're working with a horse that has a very stiff neck and a stiff body, this is gonna be difficult for them at first. So what's happening is after you do this so many times, depending on your horse, and you do it with consistency. So that means every single time that you ask for bend, you're going around a barrel, you want to do a circle around a rock, out on the trail, you're going to ask with your inside leg, and if your horse's body is not bending and you don't feel that bend, you're going to bump with that same inside rein, okay? And then when your horse bends, release all the pressure. And then what will happen is your horse will get to the point where all you need to do is apply that inside leg, and the horse's rib cage is already bending off of your leg, and your horse has achieved true bend in their body. But it just takes a lot of consistency and routine, you know, just like anything with training horses. So let's go into the riding portion of this video, where I'm going to show you guys me riding Gemini, working a little bit on bending around some cones. So let's get to riding. All right, so we are starting off at the mounting block, and for those of you who do not know who this is Gemini. He is my 4-year-old appendix gelding, and I've had him a little bit over a year. When I first got him, he only had 90 days of training on him and was considered green broke. And as you guys will notice, once I get on Gemini, I'm just going to literally be sitting there on him for a little while. And I love to do this with all horses that I have worked with and the horses that I own. So once I get on them, I just literally sit there on them anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute or so. And this is a really good habit to do because it teaches your horse that the mounting block, and you mounting in general, is a place of being still, and that there's no movement involved until I ask them to move. Because a lot of horses do not stand still at the mounting block or move once you get on. And Gemini used to do that when I got him. Once I got on him, he would immediately start to walk off. So we have tried to kick that habit in the butt just by doing that, and it has worked. So now I'm warming him up, and we are just spending some time walking for about 10 minutes. You always want to warm your horse up, especially this day. It was very cold. It's about 25 degrees, and I really needed to make sure that his body was physically ready for exercise and all warmed up. So we walked one direction and then the other and did this for about 10 minutes. And then I bring him into trot, and you notice I'm doing posting trot. Posting trot is really great for the horse's body during the warm-up because you're taking your weight off their back, and it makes it more comfortable for them and easier for them to have their bodies get warmed up. And there we are, having a nice little trot. So really, you guys are going to see me walking this pattern first. So you're going to set up a few cones. I just had 3, but you could definitely do more. And you're going to be walking alongside the wall, and then every time you come across a cone, you're going to do a circle around it and then get right back out on the wall. And when I'm asking for my horse to bend around the cone, you notice that I'm looking where I want to go. I'm physically twisting my head and my body, and that is a cue to my horse because they can feel that you are looking and twisting your body where you want to go. So that's the first thing. The second thing is when I'm asking for that bend, I'm asking with my inside leg first. So in this scenario, that would be my left leg. I'm pushing that left leg in, trying to feel his rib cage bending. If I don't feel that, I'm not getting any bend through his body. You're going to see me bump my left inside rein. So I go bump right there, asking him to flex, and he did a nice little flex there. And then bringing him into trot, got a nice transition, so he got a little pet there. And then here we're going to do a nice wide circle. So I don't recommend that you start this exercise by doing really tiny circles at first, because small, tiny circles are harder for your horse to balance. So, you know, gradually work them up to a smaller circle, but first we're doing a nice wide circle, doing another one here. And every time I ask for that bend, it's inside leg. If I do not feel that bend in his body, I'm bumping just once. If that first bump doesn't work, I may have to bump again with that inside rein. But right there, you see that his nose is gently tipped in to the cone, into the circle, and I can feel his rib cage bending. And you notice I did this circle multiple times because the first time I asked him to do it, he was like right there trying to slow down. He wasn't giving me a very nice circle, so we just kept working on it till I got a somewhat decent circle, and then we moved on. And then we're going to do another one here. So I'm looking where I want to go, keeping that circle nice and wide just to get him all warmed up. And we have a nice bend there. After a while, he got to the point that when I used my inside leg, I was really asking for his whole body to bend. around the circle, and I didn't even have to bump. But a few times I did, just to reinforce that cue. It's important that you do this exercise going both directions. And also, if you do your circle and your horse gets a little bit too wide in the circle, and it's no longer a circle, it's more like an oval, you can use your outside leg. So like right now, it's getting a little bit wide, so I use my right leg to push him back into the shape of my circle, and that's totally fine. Just make sure you're not using both of your legs. And then I give him a little pet because he's being a good boy. And then we're going to work a little bit going the other way. Now here, I specifically stopped him from a trot, gave him some pets, because I didn't want to keep drilling him on this same exercise. You know, horses get very bored and they can get very, work sour, arena sour if you just keep drilling them on the same thing. So make sure you're changing it up. Like I asked him to stop, and now I'm asking him to back up a few steps. And just change it up so you're keeping your work interesting and so your horse will focus on you throughout the whole ride instead of going on autopilot. And then here, we're doing another circle, and that was a really nice bend. You can see that his nose and his neck is really bending into the circle. And then this is our best really take on this exercise yet. So you'll notice that all the circles I do here are even, which is another goal. And he was really bending without me having to bump with my rein. He was bending off of my leg and seat cues alone, so it was really lovely. And then we do our final circle here. And it's just so fun to see how really all I needed to do towards the end was just use my inside leg and my seat, and he would start to bend without me even having to reinforce with my rein. So it was a really fun exercise to work on. Very simple. You can definitely, change this exercise up, but I love working with the cones because they provide a really good kind of marker to figure out, how even your circles are. If you are really bending around them properly, it's just helpful to have a visual marker like that. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, learning all about how to bend your horse. If you guys want to leave me a comment in the comment box below, I would love to hear from you. And make sure that you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos like this. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!